This is going to be your beginner guide for Path of Exile 2. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is gear, because coming from other games, it might be confusing where you see a blue piece of gear drop and you think, oh, that's a rare piece of gear, and then yellow means legendary, and then whatever other systems the game has. Well, early on, I was getting these things that says augments a magic item with a new random modifier. We have normal to magic. Wait, what's going on here? But I'm playing a warrior, so these items are useless to me, I guess. Except no, because if the item is a blue name, that's a magic tier item, and then the yellow is a rare tier item. I might just be stupid, but a lot of people have never played this game before like me, so hopefully there's 5 people in the comments that go, oh my god, I had the same problem. What? You went out. You have nothing you need to do. Oh, really? And this brings us to a really nice thing about Path of Exile 2, and that's the info button. So you press that, and then you can go to highlighted words and learn what they mean. Oh, item rarity. Items can be normal, gray, magic blue, rare yellow, or unique brown. Item classes which do not have these rarities, such as currency, have individual rarity for each item. Magic items can have 2 modifiers, rare items can have 6 modifiers. More powerful and dangerous enemies are more likely to drop rare items, so you'll also see that out in the world where it's like, oh, this enemy has a blue name, this enemy has a yellow name, so that means they're going to be more likely to drop the better items. So now we can understand what these items do, that if you get a blue item and it only has 1 modifier and you want to use it, then you can use one of the orbs of transmutation on it to make it stronger, and then you can roll for your gear that way. Now, a lot of items that you find will need to be identified, so you can talk to Yuna, and then you can get the Scroll of Wisdom in the top right over here. Maybe you missed it, maybe you didn't think about talking to her, you didn't pay attention because she's magic, I don't know. They cost 25 gold each, and there's an interesting thing where if you identify an item, it might gain value more than 25 gold, so you can get a little bit of profit, or it can just actually end up costing you money. You also want to pay attention to the map because a big thing about completing the story is taking on the quest and then using that to progress through the story. So you can inspect the points of interest and see the other things like, oh, what am I looking for? What's going on over here? Oh, we have a loot that we need to find. That's one of our quests. And then by doing quests, you can get other benefits to your game. And by going through the main story, you're going to get more and more things available to you. So if you're reading a guide or if you're having a friend tell you like, oh, you just do this over here and you don't have it yet, just kind of keep progressing. Maybe they forgot, maybe they don't remember exactly how they unlocked it, and then you'll eventually find that. So the hooded one, a part of the main story, gives you the ability to just mass identify all of your items, but you still want to hold on to a few scrolls of wisdom. That way if you just find an item out in the game, you can identify it on the spot, and then maybe it's just going to be a direct upgrade and you can carry on as you want. As for some of the other quests, Renly, he wants you to find some of his tools, and then that gives you the salvage bench. And the salvage bench tells you what it does. You can salvage equipment items with quality or sockets for quality currency or artificer shards. So we have these shards right here. It can become an orb. What's an orb? That's right, we can check. And then that adds a rune socket to a weapon or armor. Oh, that's pretty nice. And then the quality, that's actually going to be on the items. So we have this right here. Quality 4%. You want to kind of hold on to the items that have the socket slots or quality, and then when you get the ability, you can salvage them at the salvage bench for that currency. So that's going to be a part of Renly's quest. Yuna also has another option to disenchant items, so this is going to be your rarity upgrading that, oh, I have a magic item and it doesn't really sell for anything. So then you can get the transmutation shards, 10 of them turns into an orb of transmutation, and that's going to upgrade the normal into magic, and then same thing for the rare tier stuff. And the game tells you what it disenchants into and how all that fun stuff works. And then on the right, you can see the quest. So the yellow one is going to be the main quest, but then we have the orange ones on the side. Worth doing because clearing out enemies, that's going to be more experience. The rewards can be useful upgrades, such as with Renly, and then you're just going to get other rewards from them as well. Now let's talk about passives. As a new player, this can be incredibly daunting. Because it is. Really, the game is saying, yeah, you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, good luck, have fun, or you can spend the hours reading through all of this to find out if any of it sounds nice to you. So this seems to be a very contentious part about the game. A lot of veteran players are like, hey, you might want to look up a build guide, that way you can at least have fun playing the game and not realize a couple hours in, oh, I bricked, it's going to cost too much to respec, or maybe you're just not having fun and then you just hate the game forever and you never give it the chance that it deserves because the systems are a little complex and you get lost, or the game becomes too difficult because you just took really bad choices that the game really doesn't tell you anything about. Do you just want skill speed? Do you want some area of effect? Is that good or bad? How do I get all the way down here, and do I even want to go all the way down here dozens of levels down? Now, recently, there's been a growing trend in the gaming community about being toxic towards guides and build guides, and I kind of understand the frustration when everyone is just net decking and not learning about the game, but then there's also players that want to not waste their time. They want to at least start off efficiently because using a guide is a good way of understanding the game. That if someone kind of gives you an easy mode build, then you can learn the game that way comfortably and then do other playthroughs or change up your build once you understand it. And that's my philosophy when making guides. So like, comment, subscribe. I make guides for all kinds of games that I'm playing, and I usually find some really cool builds and really good stuff. But guides are for giving guidance. If you're one-to-one copying a guide because some random person on the internet just says, yeah, it's good, it's the best, it's meta, then you're never going to develop, and that's what upsets a lot of people. But using a guide isn't a bad thing if you just want to understand where to start, how the game works, and then start to understand the systems so you can do your own thing. Especially when skill trees look like this. It feels like the game should push enough players to where there is not a 99.9% tree that everyone should run, and if you're not doing it, you're just playing worse. Now, I guess at some point it does get to that where it's like, yeah, if you want to speedrun or have world records and stuff, there might only be a couple of ways of unlocking it, even in something this complex. You don't need that for the story. So my recommendation is, you know who you are, you know how you play games. Do you easily get frustrated and quit games? If you do, look up a guide so you don't completely brick your build, because this is a pretty tough game, and people might realize that early on where it's like, wow, things are beating me up and I have no idea what I'm doing. But if you feel frustration from having your time wasted, even though you feel pretty competent at games and understanding game systems, then yeah, there's no problem in looking up a guide, especially when the guide looks like this. Or at the very least, finding out what is just bad and you shouldn't do depending on the class that you pick. And then there's other, like, this is its own guide that I am not developed or complex enough to fully explain, but really just kind of like, oh, bottom left is going to be your red, and red is going to be strength. Green is going to be dexterity, then blue is going to be intelligence, and you can try to spin it around and do whatever to get to the nodes that you want and maybe do some kind of cool hybrid build, but for the most part, like, you just want to stay on the main path if you're learning the game, and then look around for a bit. That's another thing about the game, like, read things, go to info, learn about the game. Sure, it's like you're reading a book, and a lot of people don't play games to do that, but if you don't do it, this game is going to kick your ass. So actually take a little bit of time, explore, read what things do, try to look for the tree that has what you want to play. I want to go for infinite sustain, regeneration, and lifestealing, and I actually had a lot of fun reading the tree and trying to find it. Oh wait, life recovery rate, what's down here? Okay, we follow the attributes, and then we have Val Pact. This is what I'm going for. I don't care if you've played the games before and this is actually trash, I'm going to try it. I'm going to make my own fun, and then I just need to reverse engineer it. And then I also found a couple of other cool things where it's like, yo, 40% evasion rating if I've been hit, and if I haven't, armor, so I can tank the first hit and then dodge all the other hits. Oh yeah, this sounds like it's going to go into my gameplay plan. I went over here for life per second, extra strength, life per second, instead of just like taking the shorter route to what I'm looking for. So you can just have a little bit of fun and build up what you want. There's flask gameplay, there's elemental resistances, there's area of effects, there's actually ability modifications. So if you have different skills, it's going to augment your skills. There's infinity things to do here, and if it seems like too much, or if you're struggling, you might need to find a guide, and that's going to be your personal decision, which this guide of mine is going to just say, hey, do what you feel is right, just don't be a weirdo that 100% copies and then never develops any game sense. Now, skills are another complex system in the game. They interact with your passives, and these are effectively the abilities you use, which is why players might be gravitated towards using a guide to at least finding out a not terrible set of abilities, because you pick a thing and then it feels terrible, and now you wasted a skill gem, and now you feel bad. I've just been upgrading whatever I've got. Rolling Slam, Unga Bunga, Bone Shatter, comboing. That's how I'm playing Warrior. This isn't a Warrior guide, but at least like the game tells you what you can do with it. Oh, upgradable. If I want to use this level 4 gem, I can use it on something I already have, and then we're going to need higher and higher levels and different skill gems if we want to go deeper into the tree. Now, the uncut skill gems can give you skills from different classes. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm warrior, I've got a mace, but depending on what you have, wait a second, this is just an intelligence requirement, but some will say, oh, you also need a bow, you need an amount of dexterity before you can use the skills, and that kind of leads to some interesting stuff. So your secondary weapons can influence the abilities you use, or you can just kind of go for some other stuff. What is this? Afflicts a single enemy with a debuff that deals chaos damage over time. If they die, it does the thing. And there's also really nice examples that we have a video that plays audio that explains what it does, which is pretty cool. So some of these are just going to be stat point requirements. That's going to change how you play the game. You just kind of go through and see that. That's where we get into the support gems. So support gems are going to show you your abilities and then what's available on those abilities for the gem level and how many sockets you have. It gets complex. That's kind of a learn by example or through some kind of guide. Now, support gems also look a little complicated, but the game can walk you into what is available for your ability. And then we also have generic support gems where it says supports melee attacks, supports crossbow ammunition, supports a skill that hits enemies. So what we can do is we can turn this support gem into a certain thing, and then it shows, oh, supportable skills. Bone Shatter, Earthquake, Rolling Slam. So we can actually put that in, and that is shown through our skills. So then we can go to skills, we can go to manage sockets, and then we can see what this says. Socket a support gem of any color to apply its effects to the skills. So you can put that in, and now it's a higher chance to shock. I don't even think there's a base chance, so 100% of 0 is 0. That's just kind of the idea there. And also you can just unequip. So that's another way you can just kind of customize and have fun inside of the game. And then you might get a belt, and the belt's going to say, yo, there's some charm slots on this, and that's when you want to buy these charms, and it tells you what happens. Has 80 charges, used automatically when the condition is met, can only hold charges while in the belt, refills at wells or by killing monsters. So these are effectively automatic potions depending on what you have, and then you can socket that into your belt because, like I said, the game will highlight things and tell you what you can and can't do. So if you only had an item with one modifier, you can hit the use and it would kind of highlight up. So you can see like, oh, what targets can I do? My boots. If I want to upgrade my boots, it's highlighted right there. We can add a little bit of an extra one to my rare tier boots, but I might be upgrading those soon because that's level 5 and I'm level 13. So I'm not going to use it just then. There we go. That's some of those basics. And then to finish up the video, we can talk about combat. So it even tells you like if there's a quest there, let's go and get Yuna's loot. So here's how I've been playing the game. I'm just rolling on them. And if they're alive, I might hit them with some light attacks. And if they have that yellow thing, that means they can be stunned. So that's where the Bone Shatter comes into play. Now the blue thing to the right side of my health, that's going to be your energy shield. And that recharges, so you can take a hit. Your energy shield goes down, and that's also going to affect your playstyle. Do you just want to hit and run, wait for your shield to come back, and then that's when you can kind of go in, not worry about health too much? Or do you just want to have more armor and tank through things and just kind of do whatever? That can be nice to play around depending on the flasks, but flasks do recharge as you kill enemies, and as you can see, I have like 9 charges, and my flasks heal quite a bit. But I'm just kind of like spamming anything. Really, that's it. Like, oh, wait, what do you mean there's no cooldowns on abilities and I can just kind of swing as much as I want as long as my mana allows for it? Same thing for dodge rolling. What do you mean I can just keep spamming dodge roll? Now, dodge roll is not faster than regular movement, so it's not like, oh, I'm playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and this is the fastest way to speed run through everything. But really, like, oh, if a hit's coming, dodge roll. If you need to get your shield, you can do that, and then as long as you have mana, just spam abilities, spam your combo. The game sends an unfair amount of enemies at you, so you need to be unfair back to them. And then that's where your skills and stuff come to play, where you want to find your little bits of bread and butter, you want to find your little cheese strats and how you're choosing to play the game, and then you just keep on spamming. Maybe you have a couple of different ability rotations depending on the enemies that you're going up against. Maybe just do the same thing. This is how I've rolled my way to level 13. Once I found out it was this easy, and I can also just be kind of cheaty, where it's like, okay, hammer the ground, leave some of these traps, run away. Maybe things happen. That's kind of how I beat bosses. Like, oh, I need my shield to come back up, and then I can combo into the Bone Shatter. So that's how I'm crushing the game on Warrior. If you chose a different class, it's going to be different, but also kind of same. Like I said, if you've got the mana and you're trying to go for something, you just spam your way through whatever, and as long as you don't die, that means it's working. And if you're dying, change it up or try to find some kind of other combo or how your skills are playing. I can move my support gems around. You get a lot of the regular skill gems. So if something isn't working, you're going to get the drops and it's going to be just fine. Also, you can just keep farming. You make a new instance of an area, you clear out the enemies, you get experience, maybe you get some extra drops. Here we have a not a legendary enemy, but a rare enemy. That gave us some cool stuff. Did it give us, like, extra cool stuff? Nothing crazy, but hey, maybe you actually, like, find something cool. And then we're good to go. I have regen, so I can let my health slowly come back. We got potions from killing enemies. And then you just get into the gameplay loop. Once you're comfortable, just spam what works. And then look at the skills and look at the passives. And if it seems like it's going to make your shit work better, then you just do it. And the only other thing I can think about for combat is that you cannot dodge roll an AoE. You can dodge roll everything else. So it's like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Get out. Get my energy shield back. Just wait for a good opportunity for my abilities and whatever like strategy I'm going for. But if there's like a big circle of magic on the ground, you can't dodge roll to dodge the damage. So it's like, wait, what do you mean? I spot dodged that perfectly. No, you just can't immune damage with it. So that's not directly your skill issue, but you do want to like roll out of it instead of like rolling the tick it inflicts damage. And I think that's going to be the big thing about it. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.